When I say that you're fat because you don't have abs, it's because you are.
Alright people, right now what we're about to do is react to a video by Greg Doucette. A few times I've had this video sent to me and I haven't actually watched it. It was more or less saying, do you agree with Greg's stance on if you have no abs then you're obviously fat?
So if you don't see a visible outline of abs, you're portly, plump, stout, corpulent, fat or obese. That's what you are.
Okay. Unless that's like clickbait and he's going to say something else later to clarify, that's kind of crazy. I wouldn't agree, you know what I mean? But I'll let the video go on a little bit longer.
Bulking is bull. Bulking does nothing but make you fat and unhealthy. Bulking is bull. It does nothing but make you fat.
I would agree if he was talking about dirty bulking, but I wouldn't say it does nothing. It's just probably not the healthiest way. Like, I'm firmly against dirty bulking. I've done it in the past. Got super chunky, got really, I wouldn't say out of shape, but definitely unfit, breathing heavier. Even though I had more muscle and I was stronger, I was definitely a lot more sluggish. So it was definitely not something that I personally would advise. I'd definitely always say if you're gonna bulk, do the nice gradual lean approach.
I think main gaining is the way to grow.
I hate that term. It's basically eventually develops into lean bulking. So why create a brand new word for something that already exists? Because I know at one point he was just saying stay the exact same weight while still training and build muscle, which will work for like the average person. If you're super underweight and skinny, that would never work. You'd have to go into some sort of bulking phase, like in a calorie surplus.
Don't get fat in the off season. If you're a bodybuilder, you should look like a bodybuilder. If you can't see your abs, then you're fat.
I was about to say I agree with him. Like, I don't believe that at any point you should be have so much fat on your body that nobody can tell you ever went to the gym. If you had, then that's obviously, you've gone off path. Like, if you get to the point where you're super round and you're just super puffed in the face, and you took your bulk probably as far as you need to, and any further is just going to probably do more harm than good in terms of your overall health. However, the last bit he said, which was if you don't have abs, you're fat, I think that's not true. Maybe for a bodybuilder, but for a regular person watching, that's not the case. Because if you have very, very faint abs, all it takes is a little bit of fat to cover it up. Like the other day, I went and got my DEXA scan done, and the guy that done it is a very slim guy, but he said he's never seen his abs.
I'm one of these people who I've never really seen my abs, and when I get down to start seeing them, I start to look drawn in the face.
So there's many people that maybe are say skinny fat or just naturally slim that probably still don't have abs, because at the end of the day, abs are still a muscle. You know what I mean? If you naturally do not have blocky abs, you have to train them. And if you don't, and you just don't train your abs, they're going to stay faint. Whereas me now, even when I actually am fat, like even at the end of my day bulk, I could still somewhat see my abs. And so it doesn't always count. But if you're specifically talking about bodybuilders, then that may be the case, because most bodybuilders normally train their abs and they normally have a decent amount of muscle on their abs. So they should see it. But in regards to a normal person watching, which is most of his followers, I don't think it's a good message to put out to the world.
Did I say if you don't have abs and you're fat that you don't look good? Did I say that if you're fat that you're a bad human being? Did I say that if you're fat that you don't deserve to have friends? Did I say
2,000 years later?
I said if you don't have abs, you're fat. This layer of fat is so thick that you can't see any abs, no visible outline of abdominals. You're fat.
That's not true.
There's probably a few percentage points of people in the world that are exceptions that you can't see their abs, but yet they're not fat. They're still at a healthy weight. But for the most part, if you're a man and you can't see any abs, you're probably fat.
No, you're not. I don't like that point that he's making. I know many people that just don't really have abs. And like when I say abs, I'm talking about like a six-pack abs. If he's talking about like just the edges, then maybe you can give him that. But even still, I still go with the fact that if you have very poor ab muscles and they're as faint as the day you was born, you can be slim and still not have abs and you're not fat. Actually, what do you think? So do you think if you can't see your abs, you are actually fat? Like, would you say that's what it is? I personally say no, but I'm happy to be disagreed with.
Most of the world is fat. The majority of people are overweight.
I agree with that point though. I would admit that. I truly believe as well, the majority of people in westernized places like England and America are overweight. For example, we just compare weights of the average man and woman right now to like 40 years ago. Everyone's slightly getting heavier and heavier and heavier. I'm not saying everyone's obese, but overweight just means like the dad bod sort of level. Like this is the metric of how I do weight. There's skinny, there's slim, there's the average, there's chubby, and then there's fat. I mean, and then there's obese. And then bodybuilder, I don't even factor them into the average person's physique because that's just not there. Very few people when they're born are muscular. You know what I mean? There's very few genetic freaks. In terms of like the average population that doesn't go to gym, those are the camps I put them in. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised how many people think they're in the wrong one. But in regards to are most people overweight, I would say yes. What do you guys think?
And so the problem is the weight that you give that word called fat. You have negative connotations associated with being fat. That somehow it means you're 400 pounds, that you're morbidly obese, that you're gonna die. But in reality, fat means you're overweight. I wish most people could maintain 20% body fat or lower, but the sad reality is most people don't. The average male is over 20% body fat, meaning
All right, see, the more he's explained it, I understand the point he's coming from, because he's not using the word fat like the other buckets I just did. So I did, like, obviously before you get to, like, you know, fat and overweight, I put chubby and I put average in there. He is basically saying once you're up to average, you are fat because you're technically overweight. So he's not counting like chubby or anything like that. Whereas I do the nuance, because I know the average person in the UK probably looks a bit chubby. However, he's taking all the nuance out and just applying like a blanket term to it. So by definition from the dictionary, that may be correct. However, in everyday life, I feel like it's not just black and white. So I don't think you should apply a term that a lot of people associate with overweight people. Like when you think of fat, you damn well are not thinking about someone just slightly chubby or slightly above average. You're thinking of you're thinking almost obese when you think of fat. You're talking about someone that is visibly circle. So I think if he in the fitness realm should not be then obviously going on and acting as if fat is anything but that, because the average person, when they hear the word fat, is not going to think the definition he is. You know what I mean? That's just a wrong way of thinking about it. Why not go with the definition that most people know and most people think of, then just forcibly going down your own route? This is how he came down the wrong road with that main gaining.
I don't make the rules. I never invented the word fat. So if someone says you're fat, they're just telling you the truth. And so if you are a bodybuilder, you work out and you're into the gym and your goal is to be aesthetic, to look good. If you are training and eating to a point and bulking up to the point where you cannot see any of your abs, you are fat.
Okay. I'm not sure what the main initial point of the video was. Was he applying this term to bodybuilders or the general public? This video initially probably had like 200,000 views. The majority of them are just regular people. He should have definitely specified more so bodybuilder rather than the regular gym goer with that home watching. Because if he has a large following of many teenagers that probably watch him, which is a good thing overall, because I think his content overall does help. But sometimes his takes like this sound great.
So if you don't see a visible outline of abs, you're perhaps portly, plump, stout, corpulent, fat, or obese. Pick the word that you like. That's what you like.
He's just doubling down for the sake of it now. He just wants to be more. I feel like he doesn't like being attacked, so he's just going to forcibly go against it. I'm going to skip through it a little bit because if I'm being honest, he has not said anything brand new. This video is 13 minutes, but it could have been 4 at this point. While we're waiting for this ad to go by, please hit the video with a thumbs up if you haven't already. I highly appreciate it. Oh, look, he's got ads. Greg's got ads now. All right, let's get through this.
Eddie Hall came to mind. Oftentimes, bodybuilders can see their abs and they're close to 30%.
Okay, that's basically what I said earlier. But if you build your abs up enough, you can even see it when you're higher.
Your abs are visible for most people well above 20%. So if you're a bodybuilder and you can't see them at all, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you're fat.
All right, we ain't gotta watch no more of this. We get the gist. Did you guys agree with that? Overall, I feel like he changed the definition, or at least went to a different definition. In regards to the typical person, when they think of the word fat, I don't think they're thinking of the definition he's using. So I personally wouldn't go that route. Like I guarantee most personal trainers, they wouldn't just refer to the average person as fat. They shouldn't call their clients fat anyway. But I understand if you have someone that's really overweight, I don't think people should be offended by the word fat if it describes you. You know what I mean? If someone described me as black, I'm gonna say okay because I am black. You know what I mean? If you're fat, you're fat. If someone says to me I'm muscular, I'm muscular. I don't think the word fat should be shamed in the terms that people are so offended when they get called fat. You know what I mean? If walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I don't think it should be offensive, whereas I feel like a lot of people do get sensitive when they hear the word fat, which is why they probably don't want to be called it. You just watched one of the unfiltered live streams I do on YouTube. If you want to be part of them and have your question potentially answered, be sure to turn your notifications on and be a part of the gang. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.